I do have some Datamine shit that we could go through. There's a bunch of stuff that is in the game files, courtesy of the wikibro homies. There's a lot of new shit in the game files. Looks like that they are assets, obviously, for like the water map that's coming up. So there's swordfish. We have swordfish. There is a whole bunch of stuff that mentions like crocodilians, materials, meshes, textures, that kind of stuff. There is this piranha. Then we've seen this in like the preview videos already. You know, the big jellyfish. Then there is this big ass hermit crab. It looks like there's gonna be like mer people. So there's like some vampy mermaid. It's got shark teeth. She looks kind of pissed. There's this evil wannabe barracuda looking MFer. There is this octopus. There's this crab lobster combo looking dog. He's angry. This is one of the pirate models, maybe without like their armor and shit on. Probably like the knife thrower that we saw before. This is like, it looks like the base pirate model. And then there's another version that's got a knife. He's got a little stabby boy. Then there is, they just call this a pirate sword. So it's kind of like a cutlass, I guess, because it's got like the handguard on it. And then there's like pirate swordman listed as an asset. And then there's a pirate sword skeleton, which is interesting. Looks like they've got a sea urchin model. They also have a reference in the game files to a succubus, which I'm wondering is more like a harpy kind of thing. Or a siren. It could be like a reference to like sirens. So maybe that's just like a siren kind of deal. Because, you know, pirate themes, sirens of the deep, that whole deal, right? They sing songs and like give you a whole, do a hypnotism on you. And then it looks like there are like new mobs like fish people, which I think are just kind of like fish goblins. But this one's got like a spiky club. There's like a mage looking one that's got a ceremonial staff looking deal. And then there's another one that's probably like a harpooner, but they got like a spear, but it's got like these little like bony shard deals on the top. Then they wouldn't be able to do a water map if they didn't have a great white model. So there's a great white model. And then there's the crocodilian skin. So this is like the head for the crocodile skin, it looks like. I don't know what the hell the stats are going to be on it, but this was the concept art for what the crocodilian was supposed to be like, and then this is like the actual head for him, which is looking significantly different. Like this boy's got way less of a snoot and way more neck, and this guy looks like Jar Jar if Jar Jar was a gator, which is kind of funny, dude. A bit different looking. Also, they showed like this whole like ball and chain thing, but I would be very, very surprised if they ended up having like us with a weapon that's going to give us like flailing. I would be very surprised if that happens. It would be really cool, but to actually like implement the physics in a way that made sense would be really weird. I don't see them being able to pull the physics off for that. I don't. It would be cool though. This one looks dope. He looks cool as hell. That guy looks like a Chad. He's like Wojak. Like you expect him to have like a bushy man beard, you know. This guy is Jar Jar Binks. Nowhere near. He looks like a Skeksis. That's what he looks like. From the Dark Crystal, he looks like a Skeksis. Then there's like this jellyfish that's in the files. We also have this guy. This guy, he actually looks kind of sweet. I think he's like a pirate. He looks kind of like a pirate giant. He's got like, you know, the old hook hand, but it's got a shiv on it instead. He kind of looks cool. He does look like Udyr. He does look like Udyr. And then there's a cuttlefish. And they also have new boats, which I assume are for an extract. But there's also a new boat. There's like the boat with this has like the little lantern on the front. And then there's also like an oar that goes with it. They should just give us the oar to be able to like hit people with it. I want to be able to bash people with like a wooden shovel looking MFer. I don't know if there's been any like major changes to a lot of stuff. I know that run speed is back. I know that you can get a lot more magic heal now than you used to be able to. But I don't have like a full list like really compiled. So I think when it comes to like data reaction or whatever, I think we'll probably deal with that in another video or another recording. Yeah, so like new stat curves, new key drop rates, key room drop rates for like good shit, high tier gem drop rates, all that shit has changed. New random modifier rolls on gear has changed. Artifact rates from bosses and key rooms and that kind of stuff seem like they've changed. Treasure piles seem like they're dropping artifacts like fucking crazy now. There are people that are pulling like multiple gold keys from killing mini bosses, which obviously forces people to like flock to the points of interest and stuff. Any new spells on Wiz? Nope. They haven't done anything new for any of the classes in a while. Everything's still pretty much the same. It's just balancing tweaks. And then here's some new quests to keep you busy. By the way, we're making a new map. No new class, no new additions to existing classes. It's really like the narrative that we hear now is like it's just a focus on like we're trying to get this new map made and we have these social hubs that we're creating. instead of trying to add like way more depth to what it is that you already have. It feels like it's easier for them to focus on doing like map stuff with like their modeling team and like making boss encounters and like that kind of stuff. It seems like their focus has been on that stuff, not necessarily because it's easy, but it seems like that's what they know, which is, you know, okay, I understand that. But I feel like if you're not as strong on building out systems, then you should hire people that are good at building out systems. You know, find a guy that was involved in like creating the Path of Exile skill tree. Bring them in. You know, pull an old Diablo dev. There's got to be somebody. We know we're going to have a new boss and water map and a spear artifact. But that's what I mean. Like, it's stuff to do, and then there's stuff to get, kind of. And then there's fishing. Because there's going to, like, my knee jerk is there's going to be fish parts because there's like a bunch of passive mobs on the map that you can, like take the, like, kill and then, like, take parts, right? Like, quote unquote fishing. So there's going to be the ability to, like, I think there's going to be the ability to kill, like, passive mobs that aren't going to be, like, aggressive toward you. And then in killing them, you'll be able to, like, loot parts off of them so that there's, like, maybe cooking or something. But even then, like, I don't look at like a cooking thing as something that's like a really in-depth mechanic. It's just like put item into slot, hit button. Now you have like buff for a raid or two, kind of like how it works in Legacy. I don't think that that's like super involved. What I mean is like, you know, give people like new archetypes on their existing classes that they can like focus into that makes it so that the gameplay around them is completely different. Like like Dota is a perfect example. Yeah. Like if I want to take a support class, like I play Dazzle a lot. Dazzle's kind of like my man. If I want to play Dazzle as a support class, I'm going to build them significantly differently than if I'm going to play them as a frontliner or if I'm going to play them as somebody who likes to roam. Because there are items that help me move around the map faster. There are items that help me do more upfront damage. There's items that help me do more CC work or like shielding my homies or whatever. You know, like there's a bunch of that shit like kind of baked in. Because the mechanics seem simplistic, but then you start adding in the itemization and it completely modifies how the character gets played. Like there's one item in the game that makes it so all of a sudden I get like this massive offensive spike just because I'm holding the item. It suddenly makes it so that a purely defensive spell now becomes an offensive one that does bonus damage and hits them for an extra ranged attack if I cast that spell on an enemy instead of on a friend, right? And just because I'm holding a singular item. And there's no reason why Dark and Darker could not incorporate stuff that modifies how spells behave or how certain skills behave. You could very easily make it so that, you know, a talent or a perk modifies how a fireball behaves, or a piece of gear that you're wearing modifies how a fireball behaves, etc., etc., etc. Just like how Legacy does it, or how like a Dota does it, etc. You know, this game could benefit so much from those relatively simple design implementations. It would just come down to like figuring out what you want those aspects to be and how you want those modifiers to work, and then let people toy with them to see like if they're fucking broken or not, and then modify them from there. There's no reason why you can't do that. It would work great. Because it would be kind of interesting if you had like a panther that was diving at you, but then you were able to like counter that by doing some kind of like quick step dodge, or if you had the ability to like root them in place for half a second or whatever, that didn't have like a 1 second wind up like you have a cleric where they can do binds and stuff, or a knockback, right? Like other than like shield bash, in which case then you have to like sacrifice a skill slot to make yourself just be able to shield bash, and something like shield bash, if you're a fighter, should probably just have been baked into the class. Yeah, like crowd control stuff would be massive. And the reason why they haven't implemented a lot of crowd control stuff is because SDF doesn't like crowd control because it slows the fights down and it makes the hits to kill less, or it makes the hits to kill more and the time to kill slower. So I think he doesn't want to implement that because he likes that people die quick. But I don't think that that's rewarding in a fantasy game sense. I don't think it's rewarding. Because my favorite fights when it came to like quote unquote medieval style of games, my favorite fights were always like the 1v1s or like small team fights that you got into in like a New World, where you had guys that could like, you know, you hit them like 5, 6, 7, 8 times, but it was all about like skill usage and timing and like whether or not that skill got implemented. And it was still skill shots. Like if somebody played an archer, like that person still had to hit the arrows. If they didn't hit the arrows, they sucked balls, and then the guy like me with an axe and a hammer just shit on them. And like cooldown management. Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Sork exists. Sork is still the same way. Oh, you mean like with electric dash and all? I mean, all that stuff still takes a wind up, right? And if a druid dives a Sork and catches them and the silence hits, the druid still wins. Like Sork's still fucking dead. Sork has like one out, right? But that's one out that like a bunch of classes don't get. So the only class that feels like it's all there is sorcerer. Druid doesn't even feel like it's all there, like at all. Because if you want to play casting focused druid, you can to an extent. But it would be really cool if like each one of the spell casting classes had like 5 other spells, or if druid had choices between what forms they were going to take. You know, because imagine like a druid that had like spider form. They could like, you know, turn themselves into like a little poison shooting like a crawly boy. They could like crawl up walls and into ceilings and shit. Like that would be fucking toxic as fuck. But it would be cool, you know, little spider gaming. But then again, you have to also give like the characters that don't have a lot of range presence like a little bit of range poke so you can fuck with the spider. It feels like I've been here and done that, I guess. It's kind of how it feels. It's like I've done this already, like all of it. And like the demigod grind doesn't even feel like rewarding. It just feels like a chore. Gotta get it done so I can get whatever the hell the reward is. And it's just like, like I'm sitting here like going like, do I care? Because it used to be like you go through the demigod grind, you get it done. Okay, like, you know, full-timer content creator, got to do the demigod grind. All right, cool. Yeah, look at me. I'm number 2 on the fucking leaderboard. That was kind of neat because that's where we were last season. At the end of the second week, we were number 2 and 3 on the leaderboard. We could have pushed for number 1. It wouldn't have been that hard. It just was going to be time-consuming, and then it got to the point where it was just like, why? Because then it's just like I'm just like a hamster running on a wheel. It just felt boring. It's like you're doing home renovations and you're standing in your kitchen like, dude, I could really use like a new stove, you know? I really want a gas range. We have this electric range, but I could really use a gas range. Like the temperature regulation is better. You know, maybe some new pots and pans so that I could like better prepare the food and like control the temperature regulation more. You know, it can make like better things. And it would, you know, overall, like if you like making food, it ends up improving the overall experience. And then STF was like, yeah, we might be able to get to that. But in the meanwhile, what we're going to do is we're going to renovate the bathroom. We're going to make the bathroom really, really fucking cool. Actually, you know what? We're not even going to do that. We're going to expand on the house. We're going to add a new bathroom to the house instead. And while you're waiting for the new bathroom to get done, I know that you're looking for stuff to do. So here is a whole pile of laundry. Why don't you go keep yourself busy and go do this laundry? And then when the bathroom is done, I'll have you come in and check out the new bathroom that I built for you. And you're like, but I didn't ask for a bathroom. Like, a new bathroom is cool. Like, you know, I like, you know, nice new shower and stuff. Like, that's pretty sweet. Like, I like that. But really, I just wanted a new stove and, like, some new pans, you know?